welcome to the CFC Talk podcast. And I know I said I'll start the next episode whenever we sign Kai Havertz by saying we've got Kai Havertz, but we can't do that right now, can we? We've got a guest on board. We've got Kamal from Worldwide Chelsea. Hello, Kamal.
Hi, my friend. How are you? Thank you so much for having me on. I'm honored.
It's a pleasure to have you. I mean, it's been so long. We've been working on timings and everything, confusion,
For sure.
As well, and we will talk about it more. But before we get into all of that, we've got our usual hosts, Alex and Amart. Welcome again. Nice to have you back.
Hello, great to be on again, as usual. Yes.
Amart.
Yes, it's been a pleasure to be on.
So before we get into everything tonight's points for the podcast, conversations about fans on social media. This is specifically pointed towards Kamal. We've all seen how a lot of the local fans from Chelsea act with all of us. And then Kai Havertz, finally from a red shirt to a blue shirt. You know, I think Alex and Amart, if you remember, almost a month ago, we said we want to see him in a blue shirt when Willian left, and it's finally happened. Does this create pressure on Mount or not? We will also discuss that, and then we'll find out what Kamal, Alex, and Amart, which three players you want to sell from this year's squad. And then we're going to see Kamal's predictions for the next season, and hopefully throughout the season we can have him back on the podcast and just discuss more on that as well. Firstly, guys, well, again, it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast. We've had a lot of conversations on Twitter about Chelsea and going straight into the first topic, conversations about fans and social media. A lot of people say Twitter is a very, very vocal place, and where people would just put out their opinions, and at some points it just gets toxic. Do you agree with that?
Oh, I couldn't agree more. So I tweeted today that, I'm not going to get to specifics because it was kind of vulgar, but, just the fact that some fans in the match-going fans will say, have the audacity to say that, why they question why other fans from across the world support the team. And the logic behind it just doesn't make sense at all. Why wouldn't you want your team to be known worldwide? Why wouldn't you want fans from across the planet to invest in the team that you support? Without international fans, there's no Kai Havertz, there's no Chelsea, there's nothing. It's just an entity that won't exist. So the whole concept of not supporting and degrading fans from across the planet just doesn't make sense. I was born and raised in London myself. I was a match-going fan at one point, and I moved to the US. So does my opinion no longer be valid because I've moved? I mean, the whole topic just makes my head explode.
And continuing on that, Amart, I'm going to ask you this question as well, because you're in a similar position as Kamal and as myself as well. All three of us live outside the UK, so we wouldn't be considered as match-going fans. Do you also sometimes feel like, Amart, that you're like feeling left out, or you don't have people downgrade you because of the fact that you're not local, you're not from the Chelsea area, or you don't go to matches regularly?
Yeah. Like I've been on Twitter for a very long time, and this thing about at first they used to call it that if you don't you are not a proper Chelsea fan and all that. It's actually better now, because at first it was very, very bad. At first there was this kind of tag that they give to African Premier League fans. They call us African experts. Anytime somebody wants to make a comment about Chelsea, check where you're from first. I think they did the same thing to Indians also, and they did the same thing to Africans, but I think that thing has died out a bit. So I was surprised I saw it today again.
I think it's the start of the season where we see a lot of these fans who just come out of there and who just have nothing to basically tweet about. So all they do is just tweet.
Exactly. And like what Kamal said, it's without international fans, there's no Chelsea. Without international fans, there's no Chelsea. That is a fact. Even our owner is not from England. Most of our board members are not from England, so we can't really just say that if you're not a match-going fan, you're not proper Chelsea. We also have sacrifices here. There's some things I have to go to, but I sit down and watch Chelsea. Things that I can spend my time doing, but I still kind of like follow Chelsea day in, day out. So I love the team, and I've been supporting the team for a very long. So
I was going to point that out. I mean, you've been a Chelsea fan, if I'm not wrong, for almost more than 16, 17 years, if I'm not wrong. You would probably be older than most of the people who've been supporting Chelsea, even if they're homegrown. And a lot of the people on Twitter who've got a football Twitter account are probably between the age of 14 to 16. So you've probably been supporting a club which to be honest, is you've been supporting them for as old as most of the people who own the accounts on Twitter. So rightfully, as both of you said, and I would agree with that we as fans who don't go to regular matches also have an opinion, and our support also matters. And because we stay up late, we get up early. And on the other hand, Alex, you live in the UK, but when we had a conversation about this, I think you said that you don't go every other match, but you have been to Stamford Bridge on quite a few occasions. You've watched a few matches. So how do you feel about these people coming out and attacking people from international level?
It's crazy. I completely agree with what both Amar and Kamal have said so far. I find on Twitter, I don't know, it seems like it's more elderly Chelsea fans who perhaps aren't used to Chelsea being such a global name, and they have this perception. Yeah, they're just not used to seeing these people who associate with their club from around the world. And if you look at what Chelsea are doing, I mean, how Chelsea market themselves, and it's very inclusive. They're trying to put themselves out there. They don't want to limit themselves to. It's this idea that you only matter if you're a match-going fan is completely not what the club are going for. I mean, you can see when they go off the pre-season tours in I can't remember, the last one was in Japan, I think, and they go to a different country every summer, except for the summer. But yeah, it's completely against what the club are what the message that the club are trying to convey, and it's very naive. And I would argue in some cases, I think it takes more effort to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning or something that some fans do to watch Chelsea than it is to get to a game. And it's just even literally all fans that turn up to watch Chelsea, you can all associate together, and no one fan has more value, I don't think, than another. We're all true Chelsea fans, I think, in a way. It's just a very naive argument, I think.
Yeah, but as you said, it's a very naive argument, and that's why I really wanted to bring it up. There's a community of Twitter accounts, and this is specifically for Twitter because of the fact that you can tweet out anything you want, delete it, it won't affect anyone else. But I would say one of the largest followings from out of all of us is Kamal, and I think it would, in a way, a lot more people would come after you and the rest of us because you've got such a large fan following. But Kamal, knowing that you run a podcast with Worldwide Chelsea and you've got people from all over the place, so does that in a way help you understand how fans, if there is even any difference between the fans who go regularly and fans who are outside of the UK?
That's a great question. To be honest, I've never noticed any difference in their fandom. I've got one guy called Arrow who's on our team, and he's in India, and he wakes up dead early to watch the games and stays up late, just like you said earlier. And he's got Chelsea tattoos, and he's got Chelsea memorabilia and Chelsea fandom all over his house. So how can we question his opinion on his right on a voice over someone that goes to games? And I'm not going to name his name, but we all know the one guy who's on Chelsea Twitter and who's the one who kind of started this whole conversation about, I'm not going to say it because I don't want to give him that prop, but it's that one guy who kind of started this conversation. And, match-going fans, okay, they spend a lot of money, fair enough. It's not, I remember trying to get season tickets at the time when I was in London, and it was crazy expensive. But, the club values everyone's insight. So, and, like you said, I have an X amount of following, and I have been, a lot of fans have have tweeted at me and said, without reading my bio and saying, oh, you're from Florida, how can you have an opinion? And it's like, excuse me? Like, it doesn't matter if I'm from Florida, Kensington, Kings Road, it doesn't matter where you're from. we all support this club. So I don't understand. I genuinely don't understand why people get hate for supporting the team that we all love. The logic, it stems down with a little bit of racism too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's all interlinked in some way. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but I had Paul Canoville on my podcast yesterday,
Oh, wow.
or 2 days ago, if I'm not mistaken. And for those of you who aren't aware, he's the first black player to ever play for Chelsea. And we asked him this question. We asked him, what is your opinion on match-going fans versus worldwide fans? And he was like, there's that exact same thing which we're all saying right now. It's the logic behind, not supporting a worldwide fan is like, it just doesn't comprehend everything Chelsea are trying to do. And I think that it was Amart that said that, or Alex, I can't remember. Maybe we all said it at some point.
Yeah.
But the club wants to be international. I mean, we all want as much revenue, as much success. We want to be the biggest club in the world, and we only get that with international fans. And like I think it was Amart said earlier, without international fans, we just don't exist. We're a Sunday league team.
Yeah, I mean, it's the worldwide fans. It's everyone who buys the jerseys, who buys the kits, the merchandise and everything, and as well as talking about jerseys. Everyone's reaction on the third kit.
Oh God, no! It's probably the worst kit we've ever had. I'm 32 years old. I've been supporting Chelsea since I was 4, and it's probably the worst kit I've ever seen.
Love that red.
It's by far the worst kit. This is by far the worst. And they even said it was based on I think Air Max or so. And I saw the Air Max. The Air Max design is even better than the third kit. So what are they based?
I would love to see the sale numbers on that kit.
Yeah, maybe price. Maybe we'll get a great price on it.
Unless they're giving it out on free on an away day, I don't think I'll be buying one.
Yeah, you'd have to pay me to wear that.
It's just bad. It's bad. There's no coming back from. I think a lot of Chelsea fans have made it slide because of like the fantastic transfer window we are having. But if it wasn't for that, I think the toxic Chelsea fans will be all over that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like you said, it's inspired from a 1990s Air Max. Well, what is the connection between that and Chelsea? Like, what are Nike even playing at? It makes no comprehension behind it.
You look at the kits of Paris Saint-Germain especially, and you expect Chelsea to come out with something, and I think RB Leipzig as well.
Yeah.
That's such a good kit.
This season PSG has had like all their 3 kits are just fantastic. Beautiful kits.
I'd say even
Jordan, right?
Yeah, we need. Why can't we get a Jordan sponsorship?
But maybe next season.
But also the Spurs. I'd hate to say it as well, but the Spurs revealed their third kit today as well, and I don't know. Maybe they stole it off us, but it's a really clean yellow kit with.
It's very England plus Chelsea old kit.
Yeah, I would really like. Quite jealous.
Yeah, I think the third kit, if they only made the red, yellow, or black, like they will have one of the best. But the red and the blue, even Crystal Palace trolled us today. Did you see that?
Yes, they ratioed us so badly.
They did. What if we get? Is it okay if we can get Gary Cahill on the back of?
He's got better chances of Rudiger.
Or
just have a trade deal between Rudiger and Gary Cahill.
And he's only allowed to play in the third kit.
Anyways, HAVERTZ, he left the red kit for a blue one, but he's gonna have to wear the combination now. We talked about this before, but how good of a signing is he for Chelsea, Kamal?
Oh my God, he just signals ambition. I mean, you bring him in, and it's just like, okay, Roman Abramovich actually is putting his money where his mouth is, and he wants to go for this thing. I'll be honest. At the beginning of the season, I was full on Jadon Sancho propaganda. I kind of still want him at the club, but Kai Havertz is like a 1B. I'm completely happy with this. I completely accept it. Everyone in Germany is saying that he's their golden boy in a way. He's a mixture of Toni Kroos and Michael Ballack. I mean, this is huge. 21 years old, gonna be linking up with Timo Werner. I mean, this is an unreal signing. It signals ambition. We're going for it. Abramovich isn't playing around anymore. He wants success, and that's why he's the best owner in sports, in my opinion. I follow a lot of sports, typically American sports too. I can't think of one owner who's more ambitious, than Roman Abramovich. This is an amazing signing, and I can't wait to get started and seeing him play and link up with everyone and just show him what it's about. It's going to take him time. We need to kind of settle down a little bit. I don't think he's going to hit the ground running and be world class straight away. But give him like half season or a season, and then it's going to be full throttle.
And asking Alex and Amart, both of you, I mean, we've talked about Kai Havertz for almost every episode now because he's been the poster boy of Chelsea. Even though we've got players like Kai, I was going to say Kai Havertz again. We've got Hakim Ziyech, Timo Werner, and we've got more coming in the transfer window so far. There's targets for goalkeepers as well as Declan Rice as well. But Amar, I think was it episode 2 or 3 where we were having a bit of a debate on whether we really need Kai Havertz or do we spend that 90 million or whatever we paid for Kai Havertz on a defense, and now that we've paid it for Kai Havertz, do you think it's still the right option, or should have still gone for maybe someone like Koulibaly or someone else, even though we've signed Thiago Silva, Ben Chilwell, and Malang Sarr for the next few years?
Yeah. The reason why I said, or we said we don't really need him is because we were all focused on getting a defender in, and Chelsea has done that. Like we've put Thiago Silva at least to solve our issues, and then Malang Sarr also to come in and go on loan. Probably when Thiago Silva is not around, he come in and fill that space left. So and also one thing was that I also saw him as like similar to Mount. But as the weeks went by, I did more research behind him and all that. I've never watched him in a full game. I only watched highlights. Even I think I saw him in only one game before we were linked to him to anything. So that time I just saw him as a Mount replacement. But as the hype went on, I started researching. I started seeing his potential. I started reading things on him. I was like, no, this guy is a generational talent. We can get him in, use him for some time, and probably if he wants to leave and go to dream team like that did, we can get him. We can get a good price for him. So Havertz, yeah, I've joined the Havertz train. I'm not getting off now. At first, I wasn't on it. I was skeptical about going, but now I'm fully on board, and I think he is a perfect signing, along with Werner, Ziyech, and Silva and Chilwell. Sometimes you forget Chilwell, but Chilwell is there. Chilwell is also one fast right now. So yeah, I'm on board, and I'm not getting now.
Going back to the point that you made about him going to a dream team like Real Madrid, I would think the opposite. I would ask Alex this as well. Do you think players are now more likely to play in clubs in England and in Italy? Because since Ronaldo's left Real Madrid, we're seeing a downfall of the players moving to Liga. We follow the Messi saga that happened, and then we see James Rodriguez, who's just signed for Everton. Bale wants to leave Real Madrid. So overall, you see these star players, and these are slowly wanting to move out of the La Liga. So do you think, Alex, someone like some team like Barcelona or Real Madrid are going to come after Kai Havertz or even Timo Werner or Mason Mount in the coming next few years?
I think right now there's a case for it, but I think maybe after Eden Hazard pulls off a insane season next year, which I do hope he does. I think Real Madrid are still managed by Zidane. They still have a team of world-class players, so I think they're still attractive. They're still an attractive proposition. It's just Barcelona that kind of just no one really wants to be there anymore. But yeah, I think Real Madrid, players will still want to go to Real Madrid. I do. I mean, the James deal, I was really surprised by it, but at the same time, they've only got him on a 2-year deal, and for 20 million, I guess it's not that much of a risk. And I'm really excited to see how he'll do in the Prem. But yeah, I think Real Madrid is still an attractive proposition, but at the same time, yeah, you can argue Havertz chose. Well, no, I think it was more Real Madrid also didn't really want to spend, didn't really have the funds to spend this summer. Hence, they weren't really linked to Havertz. So that's why, as well as getting a supremely talented young player, the fact that we've been able to get him over these clubs that he would have been linked to, like Real Madrid, is just insane, really. And it just has those Hazard vibes of 2012, where he had links to United and City, yet we managed to get him, and the rest is history. I just feel Havertz's transfer has the same kind of vibe to it.
What we can say is that Frank Lampard's pull power is insane, and I don't think we can see them leaving anytime soon.
No, well, Chelsea is very unpredictable, so who knows?
No, I think as long as we have Frank Lampard around, because he was the one who sold his vision to them, and they all bought it. Apparently, they all bought it. So I don't know what he told them, but if he's still around and we still believe in the plan he has to build Chelsea, and we can stick with one manager for a long time, I honestly don't see them leaving.
I mean, we talked about Frank Lampard's pull power and all that, but is that dangerous on the players that we've already got in the form of Reece James, and specifically on Mason Mount, who will have to now fight for a position on the team, because we've got people like Kante, Kovacic, who's had such a great season last time, and then we've got Havertz as an addition as well. So Kamal, is Lampard signing all of these players going to affect Tammy Abraham, Mount, and Reece James?
I think to answer the overall question, slightly yes. Reece James, I think he's definitely going to be a focal point for our team, and Frank Lampard said multiple times that he's a massive player for us. How much he features, I'm not sure. I'm sure he's going to get a good split of the minutes at right back. But to answer your question on Mount and Tammy, yes, I think Tammy's definitely going to be second choice, or potentially even third. It all depends on the system that Frank's going to start off at the beginning. I think it's going to be interesting with Pulisic out at the beginning of the season. I do have quite a hunch that he might play Timo Werner on the left and start Giroud, just because, if we're all honest, Giroud is probably the best target man in world football, and can give those passes and knock it off to Timo Werner, and kind of that two link up could be phenomenal. And even Eden Hazard has said that the link up play that Giroud offers is second to none. But for Mount, he's going to be splitting minutes with probably Kovacic, as you just mentioned, and you can kind of see the tactics that Lampard kind of set up at the beginning, towards the end of last season. It was like kind of 1 6/DM player and 2 attacking 8s. So I think Kai Havertz is going to be nailed in as one. And the other one, I still think Mason Mount's going to play it a lot. He doesn't play 50 plus games or 50-ish games last season and just all automatically fall off next season. I think Mason Mount's, in my opinion, he's incredible. I know he splits the fan base right down the middle. There's a lot of hate, there's a lot of love. But I definitely see, potential in his game, and I see how he affects the game from, you take the game contextually, his pressing, what he offers, and all that kind of good stuff. So I definitely think he's going to feature a lot, and split minutes with Kovacic. So I don't think they have too much to fear. Tammy probably the most out of all three, if I had to kind of analyze the three of them.
As you said, I mean, Kovacic and Mount would be splitting the minutes, but again, say top 6 team against big clubs in the Champions League. Do we see Kovacic starting regularly, or do we see Mason Mount starting?
Oh, that's a solid question too. You put me on the spot. I'm going to say Kovacic, just based on experience. He's unreal at breaking the press and dribbling through the lines. The only thing that's kind of missing for his game is that kind of killer pass and that threat in the final third. I know he scored 2 phenomenal goals last season, but that's not really a part of his game. He's linking up from defense to the mid and attack. So just based on experience, he's played at some of the top teams in the world, like Inter, Real Madrid. He doesn't win 4 European Cups on the trot without being a good player. So I think, to answer your question, yeah, it's going to be Kovacic in the big games for sure. But Mount might sprinkled in. They might even play together. Mount surprisingly played right wing, left wing. He played everywhere last season. So it could probably be a trio of all three of them. Who knows?
I mean, Alex, do you think the same, or would you say Mount would start in your lineup?
Well, it does depend. It also depend on injuries too. I'd hope that we aren't as affected by injuries as last season, but in the case that we are, I'm fine with Mount playing on left wing, right wing, but I do expect Mount to. I would still expect Mount to play a lot of games. Probably maybe not 50. I'm not quite sure. I mean, if Barkley is going to be sold, if Barkley does get sold, then I would expect Mount to probably play as much as he did last season. But yeah, there's still a lot of competition. There's more competition in that midfield, especially with Loftus-Cheek hopefully coming back to his 18-19 season form eventually. I don't know, but so yeah, the competition is going to be tougher than last season for him. But I don't put it past Mount to come out on top and probably play, as Kamal said, with having this 6 in Kante and then HAVERTZ and Mount together.
Following on, Alex, as you said, you wouldn't mind seeing him on the left or the right wing. Amart, does Mount? Do you think Mount challenges Pulisic for his position next season? Could we see Mount a regular at the left wing position? Because I don't think we've got anyone on the left wing, because we've got Ziyech and Werner can play on the right, and then HAVERTZ can move around. So do we see someone like Mount challenge Pulisic next season?
Yeah, I think that the left wing, I think Kai Havertz can also play there, but I think Pulisic is the one we will go with. Like Alex said, everything depends on fitness. If Pulisic is fit, probably he'll be rotated with Mount, depending on performance. Lampard selects his team based on performance in previous games and performance in training. So whoever impresses him the most starts. But I'll definitely prefer Pulisic on the left because he has proven that he can do very excellently on the left. Then Mount can play probably in behind the striker or can be rotated with Kovacic. Yeah, for me, Pulisic would be the best if he's fit and everything is okay with him. He can also be rotated, but it all depends on performances and injuries. So, but I'll always pick Pulisic because he has proven the most, to be more effective on the left.
Going back again, the one way we could say we can release the pressure off these young players is by selling some players. There's more than 3. There's at least 5 or 6 players that we can offload from Chelsea, get rid of. But on this small little segment, starting with Kamal, which 3 players do you wish that Chelsea would kick off the boat and say, sorry, you're not part of the project anymore, or 3 players that you would like to see somewhere else other than Chelsea?
I can only pick 3.
Sure. I mean, okay, fine. I guess you get the privilege of picking.
Yeah.
There's all right. If you want me, I'll pick my top 3, and then I'll give you who I actually want to go.
Okay, that's fair.
So top 3. Okay. Michy Batshuayi, farewell, sayonara. Thank you for the late goals in your career, but it's unfortunately time to go. You just haven't offered enough for me. There's a plethora of strikers now, and there's just I don't even think he played a second after the restart. So he needs to just go and wish for the best. He just hasn't worked out for us. So that's definitely easy number 1. Number 2, I'm going to say Emerson. 3 left backs, it's just he's not going to play, and seems the most logical, because Alonso can at least offer you something as an attacking threat. Maybe not so much defensively, but you can put him up front, and I'll guarantee you he'll score like a hat trick or something. But yeah, Emerson, just because of the numbers, it just doesn't make sense. And third, it's going to be Ross Barkley. You know what he gives you. He's a purple patch kind of player. He'll give you like 2 or 3 games of good stuff, good work, and he may bag a goal. That's kind of vital. But the overall game, he doesn't give me enough. And just we have way too many players in midfield now. And I know I said 3, but I'm going to give one extra one just because I don't like him as a player, unfortunately. And it's kind of torn between the two, but I have to go Andreas Christensen. I know it's the fan base is torn between him and Rudiger, and half the fan base thinks Christensen is like the second coming of Maldini and stuff like that. But for me, I just haven't seen enough. I haven't seen enough. And since that kind of game against Barcelona a few years ago, if you remember, where he had that one mistake, it kind of seems as if from that point, he just hasn't been to the level we expect. He has a one good game every now and again, like the one against Man City at home was incredible. But I don't see it enough. And he's getting to the age where that word potential doesn't justify it enough for me. 23, 24, I need to see you being quality week in, week out. But if you had to pick if I had to flip a coin between Andreas Christensen and Antonio Rudiger, either one of them. And I think that's it. I have everyone in the squad. Trying to think of the squad in my head real quick. That's probably it.
I mean, I think we would all have similar players to kick off. But Amart, your 3.
It's just a carbon copy of what you just said. So with slightly different reasons. First, Barkley. I don't know. The hype around him before we got him from Everton, he has never ever lived up to that hype. Everybody was saying that he's a English Ronaldinho, whatever they were calling him. I never really saw anything of his. And then coupled with his slow decision making and all that, he occasionally comes up with like a goal or two and more best of pace. But when he gets into the final third, if he doesn't shoot, he makes a bad pass. And I've seen so many things. I've seen so many times. I think when we played against Leicester in the FA Cup, we had a counter attack, and he had Ruben on his left, and there was another player on his right. He didn't pass to anyone, and he did that like 3 times in the game, and it was very, very annoying. And he has done that so many times in the past for us. So yeah, Barkley was I don't know. I think Frank likes him, but I just think as a fan, I'm just done with him. And then Batshuayi, I like Batshuayi. I'm not going to lie. I like him, but last season wasn't his best. Too many missed chances, many squandered opportunities. Came up with a goal or two like Barkley. Important goals like the one in goal at Ajax in Netherlands. I think that one too was also good, but after that, I don't think he has really done anything. He was always that kind of bench player, like second striker. He could always come from the bench and do something and score a goal or two. But last season he wasn't even doing that. So right now we have a lot of strikers. We have Werner, we have Tammy, we have Giroud. I don't see the point in him staying. Even if it's good, I don't see the point in it. He's always going to be the number 4, the 4th choice. And I'm saying that Batshuayi, he might go on loan, and then later on we sell him. But I don't think he'll be around next. And lastly is Emerson for the same reasons Kamal said. He was a second choice to Alonso, and now Alonso himself is a second choice will be a second choice to Chilwell. I don't see the reason why Emerson. He doesn't really give that much input in games and all that. So he did well against Bayern Munich. I'll give him that. Our second leg tie against Bayern Munich, he did surprisingly well, but it wasn't enough. We still lost. It wasn't enough. So I think with Chilwell coming in, just to take that Emerson also go out. Yeah, those are my 3. Emerson, Batshuayi, and Bat.
I think going back to the point you made about Batshuayi, maybe we should just change his nickname from the Batman to the title winner. You know, we only remember that one goal at West Brom.
Oh my god!
In the Conte.
I lost my mind in that game.
That was actually a fantastic. I celebrated so much that I didn't even watch the replay to that goal until the game was over.
It was a comfortable title win. We knew we were champions. We just didn't know when it would be declared. And he still celebrated like it was a 90-minute Aguero kind of silent goal.
Yeah,
That's what Mitchie gives you. That's what Mitchie gives you. He gives you that goal against West Brom, the goal against Ajax, the goal against Atletico Madrid. You know, like these last minute winners when you don't expect to win, and that's what he gives you. So it's kind of like a sentimental thing with him. It's like, okay, you remember him for these moments, but what else does he give? He doesn't. His link up play isn't good. His hold up play isn't good. He's all over the pitch, but he'll score a goal when you least expect it against a massive team. So it's kind of one of those things. But overall, yeah, you just have to let him go.
Even with Batshuayi, his Twitter performances also has gone down. So
Yeah, it's true. He hasn't tweeted in a long time.
yeah, he was actually one of the best footballers tweeting at that time, but now it's also gone down. So there's no coming back from any.
I don't think he needed any football Twitter accounts to roast him. He was just roasting himself. You know, he knew when he had to give himself a bit of a lesson.
Yeah.
Alex, your three.
Oh, well, I don't want to say the exact same thing as Amart and Jamal. 'Cause I mean, completely agree with theirs. But let's say firstly, let's go with Danny Drinkwater, just because I don't know why he's still at the club. He's still got 2 years left on his 100k a week or whatever. I think it's 100k a week deal. And yeah, just it's. I think he did an Instagram post today saying how he doesn't expect to be at Chelsea past preseason, so hopefully he gets moved on. So yeah, Danny Drinkwater, absolutely, because I've no idea how he's managed to remain at Chelsea this long.
He's the biggest con man in football history, in my opinion.
He's done well for himself. He's like
Oh my god!
3 years so far, and he played a little bit in the last Conte season, but yeah.
He scored only one goal for us.
It was a banger too. It was a banger goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's.
Sorry to interrupt you, mate.
That's okay. Yeah, I can't believe that we offered him a 5-year deal when he signed, but then again, he did show. I mean, his performances in the 15-16 season with Kante alongside him, I can understand why the club did. But yeah, it's just time to. I just hope that we can sell him to someone, but I'm not sure why any club would pay money for him. But that's the point of the list. Number 1, Danny Drinkwater, and then 2 and 3. Yeah, it's.
You sell him for 5 million.
Yeah. Of course, I'd sell him for anything. That's the thing. I don't think clubs would even pay 5 million for him. You saw he went to Aston Villa, and I think he played against City. I think his first game or something for Villa was against City, and yeah, he just mistake after mistake after mistake, and they got thrashed. But yeah, so second and third, I'll try.
I think the right way to put it. Sorry for interruption, but it would be he's slipping over.
Yeah, I mean, wait, has he? I can't remember his slips, though I haven't watched.
Because his name's Danny Drinkwater. So the usual pun every podcast.
Danny slip on water. Yeah, I mean, I respect that. He's not exactly been. I mean, you can't really. Can you argue that he's been unprofessional? Not.
Yes.
No, I mean, I'm not going to say him.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Sorry, I'm going to say it. I mean, he got into a fight.
Oh yes, sorry. Yes,
he did. He got into a fight.
He got smashed up.
Yes,
I can't remember that one.
Yes, he had.
I think Barkley also had a similar problem also.
Yeah.
It wasn't to the extent, because the extent of Drinkwater's like he got kicked and beaten so bad he was like scarred in his face. They almost like broke his leg to the point of like him being out for a long period of time. It's why Sean Dyche was done with him. He was like, no, you can't. You know, you're on loan here and you're acting about. So that's yeah. He's collecting money and being stupid.
Yeah, 3 years of it. It's crazy. He's been a Chelsea player for 3 years.
I think I've seen him more in Everton shirt than in a Chelsea shirt. Sorry, not an Everton shirt. Leicester shirt. Sorry. Confused for a second.
Yeah, can't wait to see the back of him. And the other two, I mean, whilst I would love to see Rudiger leave, it's I mean he's had an important part to play in signing Werner and Havertz, so it's I think it's pretty let's say I don't know, maybe unethical to sell him immediately
Agent
after he's
Rudiger.
basically been helped get all these amazing signings. So yeah, Christensen, I'd say Christensen because yeah
Nice.
we've given that potential label for so long, and whilst I think he could make a name for himself, I think in a different league, but he's just I don't know, against a physical striker. I think that and I guess physical striker is just he does tend to get exploited, and he also has these lapses in concentration where he'll move out of the defensive line. I think it was the Palace game post restart, and
Yeah.
it was dying minutes of the game. We were holding on to the lead, and Christensen decides to come out to get the ball for some reason, just leaving this huge gap in our defensive line. And they play it right, the ball past him. They're through on goal, and I think Willie, or I can't remember if it was Willie or Kepa who made a really. Oh no, it wasn't. It was Zuma who made a clutch slide tackle in the 90th of the
Yeah.
pass game. Thank God he did that. But yeah, so Christensen's lapses in concentration is just.
Do you remember the West Ham game away?
Antonio and that.
Yeah.
Oh, he destroyed him. Oh my
That
god.
was bad. That was
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Inside out.
The same thing where he would come out of the defensive line and just
Mm-hmm.
they would just play it right past him.
I think he has a problem with meeting very skillful and fast-paced strikers one-on-one. Because I remember Alphonso Davies just did the same thing to him when we played Bayern Munich at the Stamford Bridge. He just went in straight for the tackle, and Alfonso just flew by him like a bullet.
I'll give him that because Alphonso Davies is absolutely unreal. I'll give him that one. But you can't be
Yeah,
getting turned
yeah, but-
inside out by Michael Antonio.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, yeah, it's true, it's true.
He doesn't strike me as like a he's very much like John Stones, I think, in a way, and
That's a
it's-
great shout.
yeah, and he's somehow. I mean, I think it's quite overlooked how City paid 50 million for him, and he's
Mhm.
probably about sixth choice or fifth or no exaggeration, probably fourth or fifth choice centre back for them right now. It's yeah,
That's
so
true.
yeah, I think he can do well in a different league. Maybe send him off to Bayern. He can get really jacked or something. I don't know. They seem to have, yeah. I don't think he's a bad footballer. He just isn't cut out for the Premier League, and I think he can do well in a different league. But
If you don't mind me asking, as we're on the topic real quick, what do you think that the whole Christensen good on the ball thing is extremely overstated, or is it just myself? Because I think that whole he's amazing on the ball thing, blah blah blah. I mean, I don't see it enough every game when I'm like, okay, he can ping a ball here, he can ping a ball there. I don't see it enough. So I just wanted to get your guys' take as we were talking about it.
I think that thing came from he was very good when he went on loan. I think a lot of Chelsea fans saw that, but when he came back, he has never really performed the same. So probably like Alex is saying, he might do better when he goes to a different league.
yeah,
There.
I think so. Maybe again, if I've long maintained the idea that if he's paired up with just an absolute physical brute defender, I think he would actually do quite well. But then again, yeah, with the whole idea of his passing being amazingly good, I do agree. It is overstated. I do think it's good. His passing between the lines it's definitely, I think it's there, but yeah, it's not like it's not something that you would put him in as and have that as the reason. He needs to be a good defender, and he just compare his passing to say David Luiz's, where David Luiz would pull off like 70, 80 yard passes completely, and especially in the Surrey ball era.
That's true. He could ping it around.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, he could. And Christensen, yes, is through the lines passing is good, but yeah, I think it's overstated. And then Rudiger,
sure.
yeah,
Just a quick one. Sorry, Alex, to interrupt over there, but if you could tell me your third player, because we have some news on Twitter I'm just reading, which I want to discuss to the end of the podcast.
Yeah, and then the third player is going to be. Oh, I'm so tempted. Do I go with that? Do I go with Emerson, or do I go with? I do want to say Jorginho because yes, I'm gonna put myself out there and say Jorginho, not because I don't like him. I think he's an amazing player. He just doesn't fit. I really wish we could get some money for him, and then he could be and then go to a different team. But yeah, I'd say Jorginho because he doesn't fit this system that Lampard probably or post restart at least wants to play of the sixes and a 6 and 2 attacking 8s. Unless Jorginho is paired with Kovacic, he just doesn't seem to work. I don't know. There's something's very off whenever Jorginho isn't playing with Kovacic. It's I can't really explain it, but that's the impression. But then again, you could keep since Gilmore is out for a while, and if we don't get Rice, could always keep him as the backup DM. So, but ideally, I'd love the third one would be Jorginho. Not to say it's later, but yeah. I love him as a player. But I feel sorry for him that he's not used in the way that would get way more out of him. But it's c'est la vie. You can't change it.
I would love to discuss more about this topic, but right now, as we are recording, very trusted source, Sky Sports journalist Angelo Miante, if I didn't butcher his name, has just confirmed that negotiations between Chelsea and Rennes for Mendy are almost done, with a fee reached around 20 million euros. The deal is almost done and will be signed in the coming few days, and it's the first choice for Peter Cech. How do we feel, guys?
Feel good. I mean, for the quoted fee of what, 20? It's 20 million pounds or something.
20 million euros.
Oh, euros.
Euros. Wow.
Is it euros? That's good.
Yeah.
20 million euros.
Yeah.
Wow. That is small. If it is 20 million euros, that would be pretty insane for someone who's supposed to be competing with Kepa. And I mean, I'll admit I haven't really watched much of him, but all I know is he's good at claiming crosses. He's huge, and his save percentage is okay. I'll admit I have not watched a single second of him playing, but if he's got good recommendations from Petr and Lolichan, the goalkeeping coach, turned I think goalkeeper scout now for Chelsea or something like that. If they think he can cut it and the fee is right, why not?
Kamal?
Yeah, exactly what Alex said. I've been a big, I don't want to say hater, but I'm trying to find the right words. I've just not been sold on Kepa these last 2 years. I'm a big proponent on stats and using statistics. And when you do further analysis on Kepa, you can see that he's never been a good keeper in his career. His save percentage has always been mediocre at best, has never led the league or never been the top 2, 3, 4 players in the league he's been in. I know a lot of fans liked him last season, but if you look at it overall, we liked him because he saved a couple of penalties as opposed to everything else. That's my take anyway. So, and again, statistics show me that if you have a bang average keeper, and I really do mean bang average, we have a lot more points this last season, and we don't concede a lot of the goals that we did. So Mendy for 20 million euros, so what's that, 18 million pounds? Absolutely. I don't think he's going to be our long-term keeper moving forward because he's already 28. So, I mean, I know that's nothing in goalkeeping age, but bring him in for this whole season, and you can go next summer and go absolutely crazy and get yourself, I don't want to say Oblak, but someone of his ilk. So stopgap solution at the worst case scenario, absolutely. He's huge, like Alex said. I think he's like 6'5" or 6'6". So he's hoping he can come out and claim crosses. That's something I haven't seen Kepa do once. He's not going to get beat by long shots because Kepa's really small in frame. I know he's 6 foot, but for a goalkeeper, that's not a lot. And I'm not sure if you guys follow The Athletic at all. But there is one article that the guys put out that they did analysis on Kepa, and what he does in terms of his technique, he kind of throws his hands behind his back and swings them forward to kind of get momentum. And that technique is considered, well, it's not like a flaw, but it's really unusual for top goalkeepers. So in doing that, it takes like a split second longer for him to save, XYZ shots. So that's also a reason why he's probably not in the top tier of keepers. So he has a flaw in his game that hasn't been able to be rectified by any of the goalkeeping coaches that we've had. And I know Hilario gets a lot of stick, but it's not on him. Okay, it's not coaching. It's him, in my opinion, anyway. It's Kepa. So bringing in competition, bringing in someone else, let them fight it out. Put Mendy in. Let's see what he's got. 18 million, can't go wrong. It just reminds me of Petr Cech or was it Courtois and Begovic, just having a solid backup keeper. Two solid options. I know Begovic wasn't quality, but when we had Cech and Courtois.
Amart, how much of a bargain is it getting Mendy for 80 million pounds or 20 million euros?
Yeah, it is. It's a serious bargain because like he's saying, Kepa hasn't been like Kamal and Alex said. Kepa hasn't really been the best of keepers. I think he's even been the worst in the Premier League last season. So we all, a lot of Chelsea fans wanted him to go. Me personally, I didn't want him to go. I wanted him to stay and at least fight for his position. But I always wanted competition for him. I wanted really isn't that competition. Is not that competition that he wants. I said I agree with Kamal and Alex. Kepa he didn't impress us at all last season. And a lot of Chelsea fans were the view that he should leave, he should go. But the thing is, it's not easy to let your most expensive signing go a little amount for a loss. And he signed. We shot ourselves in the foot by signing him on for 7 years. It wasn't. At least some of the blame goes to Courtois for putting us in that position in the first place. But just too much. He wasn't even really that good in his former team, so I don't know why we did that. But it's now like the team just is hoping that he becomes good, and that's what we as Chelsea fans we can only do, because if he doesn't get a good replacement or he doesn't get a necessary competition, it won't get better. So we just have to. It won't get better. So we just have to. He needs competition. If competition doesn't make him better, then it's time for him to go. He just needs competition. I think I'm comfortable being in that 7-year contract bubble. So that bubble needs to pass. That bubble needs to burst. He needs to on loan. If he doesn't do well with competition with Mendy, then he has to go on loan or something, because performances that he got last season, I just don't want to see that again. It was just bad. So competition is good, and I just hope it makes him better. That's all.
Yeah, I think Mendy will for help improve Kepa, or even if he doesn't, then we could have Mendy as our first choice as well. So just before we end tonight's podcast, Kamal, your predictions for the next season, however which way you want to say it, starting with the Premier League or the Champions League or whatever one you feel comfortable with.
Sure, that's a really, really tough question. Just because we don't this whole year, this whole last season, this season is going to be so unprecedented and so different from every other season. We're still kind of in a COVID situation, so there's quarantining, there's multiple games. We're going to have so many games without fans. There's no preseason, and I know we've just had a preseason game, but the players are internationals right now, so there's such a lack of time for players to gel, and like you usually have, like, what is it, 6 or 7 weeks of preseason, so it's Lampard could drill those tactics in, get players' fitness up, that kind of thing. So if we have to tamper expectations a little bit, but with that being said, we have to compete. Spending, I know we've had a ban, and net spend is going to be almost, only net spend overall is probably only going to be 50 to 100 million, just based on the players we're bringing in and the players we've sold. But we have spent and we've shown ambition. So we have the likes of Kai Havertz and Timo Werner, the two best players from Germany, in my opinion, that every team would want. So Lampard's got all of his first targets. He's said that he wants Ziyech, Werner, and Kai Havertz, and he's got all three. He wants Chilwell, he's got him. So hopefully we can get Declan Rice over the line, because we do still need defensive reinforcements, especially the kind of player that can be a monster in midfield as well as dominate at the back. But that's to see if we can get that done, and if we can bring in Mendy too, then he has no excuse. We have a goalkeeper to replace Kepa as well. So expectations, I do want to see us close the gap dramatically. It cannot be 33 points. It can't be anything close to that. It has to be no more than 10, 15-point gap between whoever wins the league. I do think Manchester City will win the league if they sign Koulibaly, because their team's just going to be unreal. And, I think Liverpool are going to drop off quite a bit, actually. And that may surprise you, but, they hardly rotated their team last year. And they haven't made a single signing of quality yet. So I do think we're going to compete. We can't be losing to awful teams at home. We can't be losing to West Ham twice. I'm sorry, that's unacceptable. You can't be losing. I know Bournemouth aren't in the league, but we can't. Yeah, exactly. We can't be losing to Bournemouth. So teams like that, we can't. Our home form was outrageous last season. I think it was Southampton. It was Bournemouth. It was. I can't even try to remember it. It was just so bad. So we need to make Stamford Bridge a fortress again. And overall, yeah, in the league we need to compete. Champions League. I'm okay with us going out to the likes of Bayern Munich, but we can't be losing 7-1. So again, similar conversation, like I just said, we have to go far as possible, obviously. But if we're losing to an elite team like Real Madrid or Bayern Munich or someone amazing, as long as we're not getting embarrassed, I'm okay with that. And as for domestic cups, we have to win one. We absolutely have to win a cup. This is Chelsea Football Club. I think last season was the first season in X amount of years that we hadn't won a trophy. And I think since Roman Abramovich taken over, there's only been, that I can recall off the top of my head, 2 or 3 seasons tops that we haven't won something. So winning the Carabao Cup, winning the FA Cup, I don't care. We need to win something. This is, like I said, we're Chelsea. We're a massive team. We're the best team in England. We're the best team in the world. We have to win something. That's my expectation.
So overall, you would still call next season as still a good transition season?
Yeah, I mean, transition for sure. We have to obviously, the players aren't going to, like, Timo Werner is not going to hit the ground running and score 30 goals, in my opinion, straight away. Ziyech's going to take a little bit of time. Pulisic's still injured. Ruben Loftus-Cheek hasn't played a full 90 minutes of quality football in God knows how long. Thiago Silva's coming in from France, and he hasn't been with the squad in training yet. So the beginning of the season is going to be a little bit patchy. It's definitely going to be transition for sure, because you're implementing, how many signings have we had? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 or 6 players brand new that have never played for this club before. So language barriers, all that kind of stuff you kind of think about behind the scenes. These players are trying to settle, find homes, all that kind of stuff. So it's going to take time for these players to find their feet. But second half of the season and later into the season, you expect to see some kind of like spine in the team. You want to see someone be okay. Lampard's system, because Lampard, in my opinion, he played 2 or 3 different formations last season. He played 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3. Yeah, and I couldn't really narrow down what is Lampard trying to do. What is his system? What is he trying to implement? I couldn't figure it out. Even towards the end of the season, I could see okay, he wants 2 attacking 8s, but what is his football? Is it high press? Is it, it was kind of all over the place. So now that he's got potentially all the players he wants, I need to see an identity. But I know it's going to take time to gel. Obviously, it's a process. It's a 3-year plan, like everyone's reported. But I need to see progress. I need to see us compete a lot more than we did last season.
What's the likelihood that we might even win the Premier League if we start in a really well manner?
What's the likelihood of us winning the league? Was that your question? Sorry, I didn't catch you. So the likelihood of us winning the league. I mean, we can absolutely win the league. We have the players and the squad to do so. You know, there's a team of winners in this team. I say winners, kind of. I mean, mentality wise. You look at, we haven't had a player as cocky as Ziyech in God knows how long. And teams need that. Teams need that kind of player who's going to be like, no, I'm amazing. And then that kind of Zlatan mentality, who's like, no, we're amazing. And Thiago Silva
Had someone like that.
Excuse me.
We haven't really. Sorry
No.
to interrupt. We haven't really ever had someone. I mean, I guess Hazard in a way, but even I don't think. Yeah,
Hazard was like, he was like, oh, I'm the best player in the league, but he was never the sense that, that celebration he did against us. That's what I mean. That kind of like, this is what I do. This is what I do all day, every day.
It's like, I got a free kick from that way.
Like, just as usuals
all day.
So exactly. So
Training.
Ziyech has that mentality in him. Thiago Silva's a winner. He's won everywhere he's gone. Okay, he hasn't won the Champions League, but he's won title after title after title at PSG. That's a different conversation because we all know that's not the strongest league, but he's a winner. He's got that mentality. He's going to change the mentality of the squad. And you saw last season, Ross Barkley came out. I can't remember what game it was, but at halftime, Lampard said, "You're not good enough to wear this shirt." I need to hear that a lot next season. If we're not performing, he needs to say, "This is Chelsea Football Club, guys." Like, this is. I was about to cuss, but I wasn't going to. But this is we are Chelsea, man. We are elite. We don't take nonsense. We can't be squandering 2-0, 11 men against 10 men versus Arsenal. No. We need to put them to bed. This whole conversation about Arteta, Lampard, Ole. Next season we need to see Lampard stamp his authority and be like, I am the best manager here out of these three. Winning the league, we obviously that's the aim. With Chelsea, we need to compete. But I'm being real at the same time. We haven't. Like Jose Mourinho said that once, we're like a little horse that needs milk, and the next season we go and get it. So that's how I think this season is going to be. Compete to the best of our ability, and then maybe get one of that missing link player that we might not have this year. Let's say, for example, we can't get Declan Rice in, or whoever that player is. Compete to the best of our ability this year, and next year we absolutely have to be winning something big. And by big, I mean the Premier League or the Champions League, one of the two.
A lot of additions to the team, as well as Thiago Silva. As Kamal mentioned, he's won everything everywhere except the Champions League. So hopefully it turns out that we win the Champions League next season with Thiago Silva, or whatever. Anyways, as long as we win something, Premier League or Champions League, or even one of the League Cups, to call it a transition season. Hopefully we expect bigger and better things from Chelsea next season. Thank you to Kamal for coming on the podcast.
Oh gosh, you're so very, very welcome. I mean, I know like I said, I want to firstly apologize for yesterday. The big mix-up, so I apologize to you guys. And we've been talking, me and you, trying to get this done for a long time. So thank you for even considering me. That's an honor in itself. And thank you for having me. And I definitely enjoyed it.
It's amazing to have you, Alex and Amart. I know I didn't ask for your predictions yet, but we've got a cast right before the season starts, which is where that will be our main topic, and hopefully we can talk about it then. But as well as Kamal, thank you for everyone coming on it, Amart and Alex as well. It was a pleasure having you again. Hopefully big things coming up soon from Chelsea, as well as our own podcast. Watch out for more information. Follow all of our social media pages as well. Subscribe down below and like this video. Comment below what you think Chelsea is going to come next season, as well as your predictions, and discuss everything on Twitter, and tag us in it for a chance to be on our podcast throughout the season, as we will be announcing some new stuff before the season starts. That's all from here, and we'll get back to you next time, I think. Thank you.